All right. Hello, Fight Insight fans, viewers, listeners. I am Timmy B, and this is my good buddy, Princey D. Today, we're doing something a little bit different. So we normally have our guest with us right at the beginning, and so we always start with the interview. This time, we've pre-recorded the interview a few weeks back. So if you're joining the podcast just to check out what Jion Kim FIS has to say, you can skip ahead. It's going to be like the last 20, 21 minutes is the interview. So you can go there. But we do want you to stick around. We're going to have a good podcast. Prince, we're going to talk about the ONE FC Atomweight Grand Prix. We're going to go through all the fights there, talk about the competitors, what we think about the matchups. And then there is one other thing I want to talk about, which is Gastelum and what's happened to that guy. So, Prince, you ready?
Oh, I'm ready, buddy. Let's go.
Yeah, it's Timmy B, Princey D, Fight Insight. Yeah, that's right.
Thanks, Prince. We wanted to start the podcast by just saying where you guys can follow us. So, Prince, you want to let them know?
Oh, definitely. You guys, you can follow us. First of all, follow us on YouTube. Follow, subscribe, give us 5-star reviews, leave a comment. You can also follow us at Instagram at Fight Insight Podcast. And also you can listen to us at Spotify at Fight Insight Podcast. But definitely check out the videos on YouTube because our videos are amazing, action-packed, with so much stuff going on. And yeah, you don't want to miss any of that. So definitely check out our YouTube videos, again, at Fight Insight Podcast.
Thanks, buddy. And you can now find us on Filipino TV. We've been on every other week. We just filmed yesterday with our good buddy James at Sports Weekly. So that was pretty awesome. If you have Filipino TV in Canada, you can check us out. We're on Mondays and Thursdays at 10:30 and Saturdays at 9 p.m. That's when they air it. So we'll be on next week for sure. So that's pretty cool, Prince.
Yeah, definitely for sure. And again, we'll be covering, I guess for this one, we're going to be talking about people that we want to come out of retirement. We'll be talking about our favorite finishes, and third, we're going to be doing some what ifs. So stay tuned.
Yeah.
Check it out.
So we did the what if segment, which was our first time where we stand in front of a teleprompter with the camera like right in your face. And man, that was so weird, Prince. I tell you, I'm standing there and I'm like, okay, I know how to read. Like I've been reading for a while, so I feel pretty confident. And I wrote the script, so like I know what I'm saying. It's not like I'm reading something for the first time. And that camera, man, like it's just in your face. And then for those that don't know, like the teleprompter goes like over top of it. So suddenly the camera kind of disappears and you just see like your words scrolling. And there's a guy in the sound booth and he's scrolling the words. So if you talk slower, it's okay. Like you don't worry, like they'll slow it down, but still I'm freaking out thinking the words are going to zoom past and I'll lose my spot. I don't know. It was so freaky. And then I felt like my eyes started like going up or going to the side. Like, I don't know where I was looking for half of it. Like, and then I'm like, no, the camera's right behind the words. But I think my brain kept looking for the camera. Like, I'm like, where the hell's the camera? how did you feel? It was so weird, no?
I think you did great. For me, honestly, I realized I was like this the whole time. I was like, oh yeah, I gotta start moving my hands. I'm like, and doing that. And you're right. When you're reading off of that prompter, you're just like you're looking at that, and you're afraid you might lose your spot. But then it's different because like, oh man, you got it all programmed in your head. You're like, when I get to do it, I'm gonna kill it. You watch.
Yeah.
It's so good when you're at home in the living room, but as soon as you start doing it, you're like, hi, my name Tim. Hi, my name Prince. Hi, welcome FTV. Hello.
Yeah, really difficult, man. But anyways, we'll see how it turns out. But we've had some good times, and then we were at the gym after. I know people. A lot of times on the podcast, I get feedback that says like, "Oh, you guys don't talk about yourselves very much. Like, you don't talk about just the two of you." Because we're so busy, like we've been having such great guests, right? Like, and a lot of the guests, we appreciate it so much when the guest stays the whole hour, because then we can just like focus on them and whatever topics we get their input. Like last week we had Mark Pagcali One Gun, and he talked about boxing, and then we talked about the boxing. So we kind of like focus, but we don't really talk about ourselves. And I know some people have said like, what do we do and whatnot. After the Filipino TV, we went and trained, right? We went and did some workouts and stuff like that. So, I mean, you and I are still going to the gym. We're not training as much as before. What are you like?
Yeah, you know what? I mean, I guess, yeah, it's been busy since we've got this thing going, but no, definitely. I mean, I guess when we'll have, we'll have a segment where we'll just talk about, what we're doing, some of the stuff that we've got planned and set up. And yeah, you know what, ever since it's this podcast has actually taken off, it's been crazy. It's been the roller coaster ride, right? So
It's work, man. Like people don't realize, or people do realize. I don't know. I think at the beginning when people are like, "Oh, you started a podcast," and I think you and I were like, "Yeah, like we pressed record. Like, how hard is that?" But there's stats that talk about that podcasts die out around 10 episodes, and that I think it's like 90% of podcasts die at 10 episodes. And we've seen other people do it. Other friends have, their podcasts have gone away after around 10. Podcast that started right when we started, and I was looking for other podcasts to just kind of see how we compared in terms of like viewership or followers and things like that. They're all gone. There were like 2 or 3 podcasts that I really liked, and I don't know why, but they've just like disappeared now. So yeah, it's a lot of work, so we're not trying to toot our own horns, but in terms of like when people go like, what do you guys do? This is what we do. We are like busting butt on social media. Prince is out there on the Facebook and the TikTok. I'm normally managing the Instagram. We've been looking at sponsorships. So if you would like to sponsor the podcast, please email us at fightinsightpod@gmail.com. But we are extremely happy to announce, well, not officially announced yet, but we have struck up a deal with 2 companies that will be dealing with sponsorship type things. Hopefully the next podcast we'll have the stuff and we'll be able to start displaying it and giving you some sponsorship links and stuff like that. So very happy with that. That's growing. Our t-shirts and tank top sales, those are going on right now. So if you're listening to the podcast as it drops, I think there'll be like maybe a couple days left for you to put in an order, but we've got like a really big order. I think this order is double our first order. So that's really nice. And, yeah, so we're just constantly working, trying to figure things out, trying to book new guests. Prince, we reach out to people all the time trying to get guests. Do you want to announce next week's guest for people? Because this is freaking crazy.
Okay, listen, guys. So our next guest, oh man, this is exciting. So we have Chris Montenegro that's actually going to come in at the podcast. He's going to come in and he will be talk. So we're going to be interviewing him, and he does have a fight October 23rd, I believe.
Yeah, just announced.
So just like talk
literally,
about.
Yeah, perfect timing.
Perfect timing, right? So it's nuts.
Literally right after we booked him. And so, Prince, I swear you butchered that name. I think it's Moutinho. Anyways, it's the guy that fought Sugar Sean O'Malley, the guy that took a lifetime of beatings in that one fight. But I swear to God, that guy was going to win that fight. Like, I really stand by that, thinking that had that fight gone the extra 30 seconds, he could have beaten Sean O'Malley, right? Not by a decision, of course, but I think he could have pulled out a shot that would have beat him. And I'm so interested to ask him if he thinks he had it in him to beat him if that 30 seconds went on.
Yeah, and you know what? Now he's built up such a big following as well, and you could see his Instagram and you could see his Facebook. People are like buzzing for this guy to come out, and the fact that we actually have him in the next podcast, that's nuts.
So when you talk about following, there's an Instagram that everybody should follow. It's called MMA Gains, GAINS, and all it does is every event it records their Instagram followers before and then after the event by like the Wednesday. And so it shows you how much they rise. I think he went from something like 10,000 to 200,000.
Yep.
It's something massive. Like, it was a massive increase. It's crazy, man. So you got to think, like, how does that affect your life and affect, you know what I mean? So like Prince and I are happy when we raise by 1.
Or by 3, we get 3 in a day. Like, oh man, we gotta wear shades indoors now. How crazy it's gonna be! But listen, I mean, even the video. Actually, I just want to say the video that he did with DC, that thing's gone viral too, like millions of views, right? So I'm actually really excited to interview this guy. I think he looks like a really, really cool guy. So that's something exciting for sure.
So yeah, I mean, like, look, we'll try to do more updates about us, Prince, like as we go. I mean, I think people kind of get a sense of like who we are and stuff through our interactions with the guests or when their guests are gone. We try to give a little bit, but I guess we'll talk more about it. But really, I would have to say, what do we really do is we focus on building this podcast, right? Like just trying to build it and keep grinding, keep working. So
I'm going to throw this out in the universe. This thing is going to turn into a TV show. People are going to come to actual set. It's going to be a big thing. We're going to be in a UFC event backstage. We're going to have those passes on. I'm just throwing that out there because we threw something out like the first episode. Look at where we are now.
Yeah. I know. Yeah. Okay. So one of the things that we threw out to our Instagram followers was we asked, and I'm going to show the results here, but after Kelvin Gastelum lost his fight, he has now lost 5 of 6. And I put it up and it was, now 1 in 5 in his last 6. Will the UFC part ways with Gastelum? 82% say no way. I don't know how you lose 5 of 6. He's on a 2-fight losing streak. So normally the magic number is 3-fight, but he already hit a 3-fight losing streak. They kept him on. He got a win and now has lost 2 more. He's posted after the fight, very interestingly. I mean, this is what made me do it. You can barely see it here on the screen, but Kelvin tweeted, congratulations, Jared Cannonier. Small adjustments, and we're back on top. Tonight just proved that. We're very close to being the best in the world, almost there, and on to the next one. I don't know. Seems like disillusioned almost. Like I love him. I love Kelvin Gastelum. I've met him before. We've talked about it on the podcast. What do you think, Prince? Do you think this guy is going to survive in UFC?
I mean, he's got the work ethic, right? I mean, he does bust his butt to be where he is, and the only thing is that if you can't get past Cannonier, I mean, it's going to be a tough road, right? And his last opponent was just a beast, like absolute monster. Like, I mean, he dropped him. I think he dropped him twice during that fight, and hopefully he is able to find some sort of streak and start getting some wins, but. Man, 3 in a row, it's tough to bounce back. But I mean, at least he's keeping a positive, attitude about the whole thing, right? So
Yeah. I mean, positive attitude, but then when you say small tweaks, that's my concern. Is like small tweaks, dude. 5 of 6, man. Like it might be more than small tweaks. I mean, I get it. It's a game of inches, right? Like one hit connects, and we know Kelvin's got the power to knock people out. But I mean, Cannonier was never in trouble that fight.
Mm-hmm.
The Adesanya fight was an amazing fight, but I don't know that Adesanya was like too much in trouble during it. And then whatever else fights, I don't know. I'm surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if UFC lets him go. I know that.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Like even the post that you made about him and possibly fighting Uriah Hall, right? I mean, that would be.
Oh yeah. We posted saying that the next potential fight for Gastelum would be to do an incredible rematch against Uriah Hall, because they're both middleweights that have suffered recent losses, bad losses.
Mm-hmm.
They have the history of competing in that tough finale so many years ago. And to see them now fight again might be a pretty cool fight. It might be something that would draw some fans, because where does Gastelum go now? He was ranked number 9 when he lost that fight. You got to think he might not even be ranked top 15 after that. I don't know how many spots you might lose, but and there's always young and hungry people coming up behind you. So
yeah, and that's it. The only sad thing is that I mean they're both coming off losses as well. And so whoever takes another L, it might be just a game over, right? So
Gastelum for sure. I mean, at least Hall had won the fight prior to that. Well, and then that wasn't even really, because he fought it was the Weidman fight, which was a little bit awkward. But I think he won his fight before that. But anyways, that's a tough one for Gastelum. I don't know what you guys think. I'm surprised that the fans are so behind, thinking that he'll still be in. Anyways, next thing we got to talk about, and there's 4 fights that we're going to talk about before we get to the Jion Kim interview. So we're going to talk about the 1FC Atomweight Grand Prix. For those that have been following our podcast, you've seen us interview Elise Anderson. You've seen us interview Denice Zamboanga. 2 great interviews. So if you want to go back and watch those podcasts, I would highly recommend it. But this is the Atomweight Grand Prix that was booked for, I think it was March maybe of this year. It got pushed because of COVID. When we had Denice and Elise on, they were both saying like, no idea when this thing is coming. And then all of a sudden it gets booked for, I think it's like 3 weeks out. So September 3rd is the date. We've got 4 great matchups, and it's going to be for not only to become the Grand Prix champion, but now to earn your title shot against Angela Lee, who we know was pregnant. That's why she's had to step away for a bit. This tournament was made to create that number 1 contender. So we're going to go through the list, Prince, and we'll see what you think about the fights, and just so that people can get into it. I feel like a lot of people don't watch a lot of 1FC.
Yeah, but you know,
it's free on YouTube, man. It's free on YouTube. There's no reason not to watch it, and the fights are going to be good. And this card on September 3rd is called Empower. It's all women fights, including the 4 quarterfinals for this Grand Prix, plus 2 alternate matches. So you're going to get to know these girls because you're going to see them go through that tournament, right? Like go through the bracket. So it's going to be pretty cool. First fight, and we're going to go on.
I feel like they should just change the name to like Mortal Kombat. Grand Prix sounds like there's like it's a motorcycle or like, you know, one of the speed NASCAR type of events. We call it Mortal Kombat, and then Angela Lee is Shang Tsung.
Oh, she could stand at the top like of a thing and look over as they fight. Yeah, that'd be pretty awesome. I wonder if she'll be there actually, because I mean, she's had her child and stuff. So I wonder if she'd be on site. That'd be pretty awesome. All right, first matchup on one side of the bracket. We're going to go. I've put together some photos, Prince.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go. It's Suki Harada versus Elise Anderson. Elise Little Savage Anderson. That's the girl that we had on our podcast. And all right, so there we have Japan versus USA. Do you like the photos, Prince? I did a good job.
Yeah, you did. Man, Elise is going to be so happy.
It's very hard. Okay, it is very hard to find like appropriate photos sometimes for some of these people. So we've got Elise Anderson. She's 5-1, and she's fighting Itsuki Harada who is 4-0. Both relative newcomers. You know, if you listen to the podcast with Elise feels like 1FC is really behind Itsuki, but I feel like that's only because Itsuki has fought before. She does her dances in the ring. She's marketable. She's got the look. She's got the, you know, she's from Japan, so she's got the Asia link. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Just a couple days ago, 1FC on their Instagram posted like 3 photo spread of Elise Anderson. So I was like, oh, she must be happy. Remember, she was talking about like, they're not promoting me and stuff, but there they are. They're promoting her. So we're happy to see that. Who do you have in that fight, Prince?
Man, of course, we're backing up Elise. Elise, the former nurse, motocross rider as well. First of all, I mean, she is the tallest fighter in there. She's probably going to be using that and using her reach as well. And she was just saying, like, I don't think any of these guys has seen or even touched the level of grappling skills that I have, right? So she is really throwing that in there. And, you know, my money is on Elise. She's confident. I've seen some of her training videos as well. She's ready to go. And I think she's got a lot to prove in this tournament as well. And also, I think she wants to put a show, like, you know, maybe, you know, it catches the eye of Dana White and say, hey, oh man, these guys are pretty good, and Elise is killing it over there. Maybe we should start one up over at UFC, right? So my money definitely is with Elise. What do you think, buddy?
No question about it, Prince. I am voting for Elise. I want her to win, and then I want her back on this podcast to talk about the semifinals. That's my goal. Next fight, so this will be on that same side of the bracket. You've got Ritu Fogate versus Meng Bo. This is China versus India. Mm-hmm. Now, this is the drama here, Prince, because this is where Ritu had lost her spot for the Grand Prix. She was in it, booked in it. She took a fight against American B. Nguyen, and that's, again, Elise was talking about that on the podcast. Ritu loses the fight to B. They say, okay, Ritu, you're out. They don't say B, you're in. It's all confusion. I think when we spoke to Elise, she thought she knew who it was going to be, and I don't think it was that person because she would have made it more sound like it's Ritu back, you know. And here we go. Ritu is back in the Grand Prix. I don't know why. 1FC must love her. I couldn't figure out like the story of the drama. So if anybody knows, let us know.
Was it something about her winning fight against Lynn?
Another fight?
Yeah, against Lynn. Is it
okay? Fine, but you already lost. Anyways, I don't know. Yeah, she fought again and won. But how do you win your spot back in when B doesn't get the spot? I mean, it's silly. Yeah. But let's see. Meng Bo, holy moly, 17-5, and Ritu is 5-1.
Mm-hmm. It was a bye, yeah.
17-5. That's a lot of experience coming on the Bo Meng side. Who do you got on that one, Prince?
You know what? I've been watching a couple of Ritu's fight, and I really do like Ritu. Just she's got that aggression, she's got that wrestling background as well, and I like her as a fighter. I honestly think she will surprise people when she gets in there, right? And I mean, good thing that she got that, she experienced that loss against Bai, and so hopefully that's a good learning experience, especially to lose against such a great fighter as her too, right? Hopefully with that she'll be able to learn from that and then use that against this fight as well, right? Because this is huge for her to get her spot back into the Grand Prix is a big deal. So she's gonna try and capitalize on it. So I know the other fight she got a lot of experience, but I got Ritu for this bad boy. What do you got, Tim?
I do want to take a side note here just to say, like, I feel like sometimes you mess up the names on purpose. It's B. It's Killer B and Nguyen. Not I.
Oh, sorry. I don't know. You know what? I keep getting it mixed up. You know what? There's Bai Rain. You know Bai Rain, that South Korean artist? Have you never heard of him?
No. And it's B and it's BI?
Yeah, BI.
Oh, okay. So, anyways, that's fine. I'm going to go with Bo Meng. I think the experience, Ritu, I don't know, might be a little bit too emotional, I'm going to say. And I think she's going to feel a ton of pressure to win, not just this first match, but she's going to feel a lot of pressure to win this whole thing, especially because of what happened to her. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to say that extra emotion is a little bit too much. And I think the experienced Bo Meng takes her out. Also, we're talking about trying to talk more about ourselves, Prince. So my dad's side is from Macau, Hong Kong. So I have the China link, or the Chinese link. So I'm going to go with Bo Meng on that one. I do think she takes it due to the experience and due to the whole drama stuff.
But don't you think that what if that extra added stress or pressure is something for her? Like good. Like, I mean,
yeah, for sure. It can always go that way, but if she fights with too much emotion or something like that, I don't know. She just seems always very emotional. Like when you watch her fight, she gets very hyped up, very energetic, and I feel like at some point an experienced fighter may be able to use that against her. Yes, it can make you better, but you might also have an adrenaline dump. You talk about fighters that have that, right? They go so all out that then all their energy is gone, and then they struggle in the remaining rounds. So we'll see. I'm going to go with that one. Okay, now we're going to go to the other side of the bracket. We've got the first fight we will talk about on that side is Stamp Fairtex versus Aleona Rasogna, I believe. And she is from Ukraine. This is Ukraine versus Thailand. So, Prince, there's a little bit of drama here. Do you want to talk about the drama for Stamp? Or, well, for both of these girls, if nobody knows.
So if people don't know, they actually have fought first time already, and they're actually during a match. What looks like at the very end of the very match, Stamp looks like she tapped out during the actually very last. It looked like the very last couple seconds of that. She
tapped, yeah.
And she tapped in, and she gets up and she tells the referee, "I did not tap. I thought I heard the bell ring." And so it got called off. It got called off as submission, and so that was the big controversy around that. And so I kept viewing the video over and over again. Man, it's hard. Yeah, she did. She did tap.
She tapped. There was like I think it was like 5 seconds left or something. But I guess she probably heard the tick 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 for the 10 seconds, is in a submission. I think what she kind of says is like, yeah, I thought the bell rang and the stupid girl is still choking me. So I kind of tapped to tell her to stop. But that's not, I mean, that's not your job. You know, the ref is there. So I mean, what the heck? So I don't know. She gets up extremely upset right away. There's photos or video of her going to the back and she's like yelling and getting upset about it. So 1FC very smartly rebooks the match as this first fight in the Grand Prix. Now, Stamp Fairtex is 5-1. She normally competes in Muay Thai, but in MMA she's 5-1. So that was her first loss. And Aleona is 13-4. So Prince, who do you got on this one?
You know what? I'm hoping Stamp fixes all the mistakes that she made against the last fight, and I've got Stamp. I honestly hope she's worked on her ground game, and learns from it. Right, so I've got Stamp taking this bad boy. I hope she does it. Yeah.
In this case, I know that Stamp has much less fights, but she is an experienced Muay Thai fighter and a champion Muay Thai fighter. I think Stamp takes this one as well. I think Stamp has experience in the long run. I do think she's probably she was doing well in that fight as well in the first one. So I do think she takes it. I think that'd be a very exciting fight to see.
I'd be surprised if Stamp will just keep it standing up. I think she'll just try and avoid every way to avoid the ground game. Just keep it standing up, and hopefully that'll take it for her, right?
But she trains like a killer. So, and she is, man, if you want a funny Instagram to watch, go watch Stamp Fairtex's Instagram. She's funny, man. She's always dancing, doing some weird stuff. She's quite the character. Last quarterfinal match. It's our girl, Prince. Fight in sight. The other person that we have interviewed, we've got Denice Zamboanga versus South Korean So-hee Han, who many people may remember from her stint in UFC as well. Prince, I don't even have to ask. I can just skip forward. I know your pick.
Listen, 1, 2, 3. We say it. 1, 2, 3. Denice. She's taking this bad boy. She's number one contender, and I honestly would love to see her at the very end. Her and Alyse going at it.
To a fight in sights alumni.
Can you imagine they both call us out during those at the very end? Oh man, that'd be amazing.
Denice is 8-0. Of course, we know that she's undefeated. She was the number one contender prior to the Grand Prix, going up against So-hee Ham So-hee from South Korea. 23-8 is her record. But I do want to say that I do feel like So-hee Ham is probably one of, if not the most decorated in this tournament, the most experienced. She is the champion, or I guess former champion, I don't know how you want to say it, but she's the Road FC Women's Atomweight champion. She's also the Deep Jewels Atomweight champion, and she's the something else, Deep Jewels Lightweight champion or something like that. Anyways, she's like multiple champions in different organizations, like legit organizations. It's going to be a tough fight, man. That is a really tough one. And I know the photo I put up was both of them, looking good. But if you look at Ham So-hee's Instagram, she is jacked, ripped. Like, she is very fit and muscular and strong. And she trains with, I believe, Team Mad in South Korea, which is a big team out there. I think that's where Korean Superboy is and a bunch of the other guys. So she's got a huge, massive team behind her. Denice, of course, has Morocco Force MMA, which we talked to her about. That's a massive team as well. I feel like this really should have been the finals. Like, these are, aside from Alyse, that we love Alyse, but aside from Alyse, these are two of the biggest names in that bracket almost. So I don't know. Every match is amazing. Of course, I'm going with Denice. We send all our love to Denice. So of course, Denice. But man, Prince, what a bracket. Right?
Yeah. Well, don't forget, Denice she just showed a recent picture of her training video went on Instagram. And she's got abs now too. She's all ripped up.
Oh, yeah.
She's it's game time. So
she looks better than she's ever looked. She looks better than ever. Yeah. All of these girls have had such a long camp because they remember they have a long camp because of the way that this thing has been delayed, right? So these girls have been in serious training for like 6-7 months now for this tournament. So I don't know.
It's going to be exciting. It's going to be exciting. This thing is going to be, and we're going to see a lot. We're going to see a lot of knockouts, a lot of submissions in this bad boy, right? So,
yeah, I think it's going to be amazing, man. I think this is going to be such a great tournament. If you are not a 1FC fan, now's the time to tune in. Now's the time to watch. Get hooked on this Atomweight Grand Prix. You're going to see, 8 of the best 105 pounders in the world. 105, 115, 105. 105. Straw weight is 115. So yeah, atomweight 105. 8 of the very best in the world. You got to check that out. September 3rd on YouTube.
105. Less than 105. You got that.
Yeah. All right, Prince. Before we get to the Sohiham, before we get to the Jion Kim interview, which is amazing, guys. Her agent Kevin, he came on to help interpret for us. And again, we did this a few weeks ago, and there is some slight technical glitches because Prince kind of glitches in and out a little bit, but it doesn't impact it at all. We did have some good questions. I think we had a great time with her. She's fighting Prince. She's fighting Molly McCann on September 4th. That's going to be a big flyweight fight. I do want to take a second. Jion Kim, she's been training with Syndicate MMA for a long time now. So we'll talk about that in the interview and you'll see, but she's been there because she had an injury and then she ended up just staying there and she had a fight and it got called off. So she's been there a long, long time training with Joanne Calderwood, another Fight Insight alumni, Ramona Pasquale. We see her there with one of the guys that we put on Fight On Site, which was Khalil Roundtree. She's there with Alexei Olenek, Atman Fiziev. I don't know how to say that name properly, but you watch her Instagram, she's there with all of the UFC's top fighters. It will be very exciting to see how she performs. She looks like a killer. She's been amazing in the past, but now with this team behind her, it should be very interesting to see what legit 24/7 training can do for her.
Definitely. I mean, the fight camera, and also if you guys haven't seen us, Wartime Rios is also in that.
Oh yeah, Wartime Rios, of course.
You guys, if you haven't seen that podcast, watch that as well because that's another amazing podcast. But yeah, Fire Fist, yeah, she's a monster, she's a beast, and yeah, honestly, any team that's gone over, any fighter that's gone over to Syndicate, they learn a great deal, right? So. Definitely. Also, shout out to Syndicate as well for sending us so many fighters to come and interview. Definitely.
So it's exciting. But anyway, before we end this podcast, we will do our regular segment, which is our Fight On Site. We won't use the simulator today. We don't want to use up all the money on it today, but we will pick 2 fighters for you to go to our Instagram on Saturday to pick who you think is the winner. And Prince, today, and this is we're saying this in the nicest way possible, of course. But we have, for our Fight On Site, we have the Fight On Site subtitled edition. So what we've done in honor of Jion Kim, and thank you to her agent Kevin for coming on and doing the interpretation for us, we are picking 2 of our favorite fighters that do not speak English. And we're going to put them up head to head. I think this is a great battle, Prince, and I think that this is a battle which could legit happen in real life. Mm-hmm. So, Prince, go ahead with your guy first.
So, I'm going to pick Jose Aldo. There you go. I've got Jose Aldo. He's my fighter. Actually, I just wanted to say, before you guys watch the segment on Fire Fist, I don't think we needed Kevin. I was fine translating the whole thing, the whole interview. I was great. Thanks a lot, Kevin, though, for helping translate. I just felt like I could have done it too.
You could have done it. It's fine. Okay, but do you want to? You said something funny when we were picking Aldo. You said that he has legit come out and said, "I just don't want to learn English at all."
Yeah. So you know what? There was something that I heard that he refused. I believe he refused to learn English, and then he for him speaking Portuguese is the one thing that he just does on the interviews. I don't think I've ever heard him speak English at all.
No, none. Yeah. No.
Nothing.
It's funny because I I remember when Lyoto Machida became champion, I remember there was like an embedded or something that showed, and the UFC was like saying, hey man, you're our champion. We want you to be able to speak English for the simple fact of being able to promote yourself and things like that. And I remember he was doing his courses and they showed that in embedded. And then within a very short amount of time, I mean, it's very impressive because I can't speak any other language aside from English at all, like nothing. I'm terrible. Machida is like full English, right? Like he speaks full, fluent, no problem. It is interesting because Aldo was a champion for so long that they never really tried to get him to learn English. So just for the simple fact of being marketable, imagine if he could have spoken English during that whole Connor thing when they went around the world, right? Yeah. Like how crazy that would have been if they were able to verbally spar. You know what I mean? My fighter, Prince, is one of my favorite fighters in the world. He fights this weekend. One of the greatest, Edson Barboza Jr. Prince, one of my favorite fighters of all time. If I am bored and I've got nothing to do, I will pull up Fight Pass and watch Edson Barboza fights all day long, right? Pick any of his fights. It is fantastic. He's coming off that incredible win off Shane Burgos. That's the one where I think it was like 2 shots hit the dome of the guy. Burgos kind of stood there for a second, got like this, and then just started like falling. Like it was like a delayed, strange reaction. One of the craziest knockouts. Edson Barboza Jr., man. And I think, are they not technically in the same division now? Or are they still one away? I feel like that's a fight that could happen, man. Could you imagine?
Yeah. And also, guys, we'll let you guys know we actually talk about the delayed reaction in the previous podcast. How your body just reacts to knockout and all of a sudden you just drop and you not even realize that someone touched you. So, but definitely, I mean, Barboza is a very exciting fighter. He just got so much power, man. Power.
His leg kicks are insane.
Right?
Insane. His leg kicks are crazy. He's going to come out. His fight this weekend against Chikadze Gige, if I'm saying that right, that's going to be an amazing fight. Holy cow, that's just going to be guns blazing on both their ends. I do hope that Barboza takes it because I would love for Barboza to go on a title run at his new weight division. I think featherweight, right, is where he is now. Whew, he's so fun to watch, man. And 5 rounds of Barboza too. So, I mean, if you do survive the first 3 rounds, you got to go another 2 with him just like throwing kicks at your legs nonstop, kicks at your head, spin kicks. Whew, so fun to watch, man.
It's going to be kick city that first round. So definitely, man. And now it's funny because now I cringe every time anyone throws a kick, right? So I'm like, oh God, please let it be okay. So
yeah, no, Barboza's legs are not breaking. That's for sure. This guy has conditioned shins out the wazoo. Like that guy is, incredible. Prince, I had a good time with you, buddy. We have a great interview coming up. So stick with us. If you want a t-shirt, hit us up, fightinsightpod@gmail.com, or just message us on our Instagram. Prince, before we go, anything you got to say?
Yeah, and you know what? If you want to be a guest or just want to shoot us an email, any feedback, fightinsightpod@gmail.com. All right. So again, subscribe at YouTube, follow us at Instagram, and listen to us at Spotify, Fight Insight Podcast. Thanks a lot, Tim. It's been fun. Watch a little bit of Fire Fist.
Is that how you're going to do it before we go out? Was I supposed to do it? Okay, do it again.
Fire Fist!
Yeah, it's Timmy B, Pretty D, Fight in Sight. Yeah, that's right.
All right, guys. I'm all by myself today because Prince is having some network difficulties, but today we are extremely excited and thrilled to have one of the greatest female fighters ever from South Korea. She is fighting in the UFC's flyweight division and has a record of 9 wins, 3 losses, and 2 draws. She was born in Incheon, South Korea, and now is training with our good friends at Syndicate MMA. She fights September 4th against Molly Meatball McCann. We are so excited to have her. She always puts on amazing fights. Ladies and gentlemen, coming to us from Las Vegas, along with her agent, Kevin, we have Fire Fist, Kim Jion. Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
Good.
Good. Jion, my wife is South Korean, so I have to do this. I hope I do it right. But 안녕하세요.
예. 안녕하세요.
와이프분께서 한국인이시래요.
아, 예.
Yeah, thanks.
메시지 받았었어요.
Yeah, she recently received one of your messages regarding your wife.
Oh,
Very
yeah.
well.
Yeah, we always watch you on Instagram. You have so many followers on Instagram. We love it.
인스타그램으로 자주 지은 씨를 보고 있대요.
아, 감사합니다.
So the first question we want to ask you is that how did you decide to go train at Syndicate MMA? How did you choose there?
일단 첫 번째 질문은 어떻게 하다가 라스베가스 신디케이트라는 체육관으로 가게 되셨나요?
처음에는 이제 뭐 훈련보다는 이제 시합이 잡혔는데 부상 때문에 PI에 이제 재활을 하기 위해서 이제 PI에 오게 됐는데 이제 마침 루비 에이전시랑 계약을 하고 뭐 케빈 씨나 이제 루비 에이전시 대표인 데니의 이제 소개로 신디케이트에서 훈련을 같이 진행하게 되었습니다.
Well, originally she was supposed to go to Vegas for a fight on May 1st against Juliana Botello. But a few weeks before the fight, she ended up getting injured. So she had to fly out to Vegas in regards of rehabilitation instead of training. And when she landed there, she happens to have been signed to Ruby Sports in the new time.
Okay.
So the owner of agency, Daniel Rubenstein, introduced her to Syndicate, and me being there kind of naturally just brought it all together.
Oh, that's nice. Jion, you always wear the shirts that say Ruby. They always look like nice shirts.
내일 루비 티셔츠 입는데 그 티셔츠가 이쁘대요.
Yeah, they look good.
네, 저도 너무 좋아하는 티셔츠예요.
It's one of her favorite t-shirts.
Yeah, it's good. You being in Vegas, you get to go to the Performance Institute all the time, and you get to meet all those famous UFC fighters. How fun is it getting to be with all of them? They all seem to love you.
그 이제 라스베가스에 사시면서 PI를 자주 가시잖아요. 근데
네,
이제
네.
거기는 어떤지, 거기 선수들이랑 잘 어울리고 있는 것 같습니다.
일단 굉장히 선수들이 많이 이제 왔다 갔다 하면서 새로운 선수들을 많이 접하고 많이 보게 되는데 다들 엄청 열정적으로 훈련하는 모습에 저도 더 열심히 좀 하게 되는 것 같고요. 일단 거기 직원분들도 다들 너무 친절하게 대해주고 그리고 한 사람 한 사람을 위해서 그 사람을 위해서 이렇게 뭐 트레이닝 시켜주는 부분도 너무 진짜 뭐 그냥 직업적인 부분이 아니라 진짜 마음을 써서 이렇게 써주시는 거에 더 힘을 많이 얻고 더 열심히 할 수 있게 되는 좋은 에너지를 많이 받을 수 있는 것 같아요. 네, 그래서 지금 굉장히 많이 만족하고 있습니다. 여기 온 것에 대해서도 되게 만족하고 있습니다.
Well, first of all, she's very happy to be in Vegas, and yeah, the PI, it's a special facility with a lot of high-level fighters that comes with full enthusiasm, training hard, and it's not an environment that she gets to see every day in Korea. And obviously, everyone there is more than helpful. Day to day, they always give her the best work that she needs, just so that she could always be in the best fight shape.
Nice. There was a video that went viral, which was where she met Alexei Olenek, and he was teaching the Ezekiel choke. Are you practicing the Ezekiel choke?
그 최근에 이제 좀 많이 유행했던 트렌드라고 해도 되겠죠?
네, 네.
그 이지키엘 초크가 한때 유행했었는데 혹시 그 초크를 연습을 하고 계신가요?
뭐, 진짜 연습보다는 실제 스파링 때 막 해보려고 많이 좀 생각은 하고 있거든요. 그런 포지션이 나왔을 때. 근데 생각보다 그렇게 엄청 어렵더라고요. 나오기가 그게. 근데 그 올리닉 선수는 경기 때 되게 많은 횟수의 그 이스케일 투크를 뭐 완성시켰다고 하는데 진짜 대단하다는 생각이 들었고 항상 생각하고 있거든요. 해보고 싶어가지고. 근데 생각보다 잘 안 되는 것 같아요. 그래도 계속 연습해서 시합 때나 이럴 때 좋은 포지션이 나왔을 때 해볼 수 있도록 꾸준히 연습을 해보겠습니다.
Yeah, she's actually trying to do it. She's trying to pull it off during sparring every time she ends up in those kind of positions, and it amazes her from the fact that Alexei Olenek not just only attempted the most Ezekiel, but has the most Ezekiel choke in MMA,
Yeah.
if that's correct. And yeah, and hopefully she could pull it out one day during her fight. But she's actually trying to do this during sparring every time she ends up in a good position. So it's
Okay.
definitely something she'll try to do if she ends up there.
Oh man, it looks very fast. Like both and Kevin, he did it to you too, and you were like out right away, right? Like it's a very good move.
좋은 기술이고 저한테도 썼었다고.
예.
Well, I was the only one there, so there was no other options.
On September 4th, you're going to fight Molly Meatball McCann. How are you going to win that fight?
이제 9월 4일 몰리 맥칸이랑 시합을 하시는데 그거를 어떻게 이기실 거예요?
일단 상대가 굉장히 터프한 이제 선수더라고요. 여자 선수인데도 굉장히 터프하고 굉장히 매력 있는 선수라고 경기를 봤을 때 사실은 그 오퍼가 왔을 때 그 미트볼 선수를 잘 몰랐어요. 그리고 경기가 잡히고 나서 경기를 찾아봤는데 굉장히 터프하고 재밌는 선수더라고요. 그래서 그리고 저는 사실 트래시토킹 같은 걸 잘 즐기지 않는데 상대가 굉장히 트래시토킹도 잘하고 욕도 하고 어, 재밌게 경기를 하는데 뭐 그런 거에 막 의식하지 않고 그냥 훈련했던 대로 경기를 좀 풀어가려고 진짜 훈련을 많이 해야지 더 좋은 경기력이 나온다고 생각하고 훈련에만 정말 집중을 많이 하고 있습니다.
Well, first of all, when Molly McCann was offered to her, she didn't really know who she was. It's not an offense to her, it's just that she was not really familiar with who Molly McCann was. So she went back and did a bit of a research watching her fight, and obviously Molly McCann is one of the toughest girl in the division. And one of the hardest talking person too in the division, if that makes sense. The harshest. So her talking a lot of crap and enjoying brawls and stuff like this could make it entertaining, and also at the same time she believes that as long as she keeps to the training program that Syndicate MMA provides her, and as long as she's putting in the work, then she could pull off the win.
Nice. We are cheering for you 100%. There's a huge South Korean, community in Toronto, Canada, and I know we all cheer for you.
일단은 지은 씨를 100% 응원할 거고, 토론토 캐나다에서 한국 한인회가 지은 씨를 분명히 응원할 거라고.
진짜요? 감사합니다.
Yeah, there you go. And actually, I just wanted to say from Toronto, Canada, to you, we wanted to say.
토론토 캐나다에서 보내고 싶어요.
감사합니다. Thank you.
감사합니다.
I know that you've been teaching all your friends at Syndicate MMA and all the fighters how to do this, because all of them are doing it. Joanne Calderwood did it when she was on the weigh-in scale.
그 신디케이트 사람들한테 이거 많이 알려주고 있는 것 같다고. 예를 들면 조조도 개체량 때 하트 날렸었잖아요.
네.
um, we really appreciate you coming on. Before we let you go, is it okay if we ask you some fan questions?
혹시 이제 가기 전에 팬 질문들 좀 할 수 있냐고.
아, 네네네, 좋습니다.
Okay.
Yeah.
The first one is from our good friends at MMA Social Squad. They asked, what was the first goal you set for yourself as a professional fighter?
일단은 MMA 스쿼드에서 첫 질문은 MMA 선수를 시작했을 때 첫 목표가 뭐였는지.
사실 뭐 딱 목표라는 것은 없었어요. 그냥 해보고 싶었고, 그냥 그냥 새로운 거에 대한 도전이었지, 막, 뭔가 나는 무조건 뭐 챔피언 될 거야, 이렇게 시작한 건 아니었고, 사실 처음 시작했을 때 굉장히 어린 나이에 시작했지만, 제가 뭐, 지금까지 이렇게 MMA 하고 있을 줄은 내가 이렇게 여기에 매력에 빠져들 줄 생각지도 못했기 때문에 그때는 그냥 새로운 거에 대한 도전이라는 시작이었고, 근데 지금 와서 생각해보면, 이렇게 MMA 선수로서 파이터로 사는 삶도 괜찮다. 좋다. 뭐, 늘 도전하는 삶도 또 즐거운 것 같다라고 생각이 좀 듭니다.
When she first started, she didn't really have an objective of a goal to accomplish. She was actually doing it out of a hobby, you know, so it kind of surprises her that she ended up where she is right now, living the fighter's life. And
crazy.
Making it this far was never what she expected to do, you know?
Oh, that's crazy because, I mean, she's a very good fighter. The next question is from Foul Fortune, and they ask, what is it like trying to become an MMA fighter in Korea?
한국에서 격투기 선수를 한다는 건 어떤 것인지.
해외 훈련을 하다 보니까 사실 조금 이제 아직까지는 한국에는 MMA를 하는 사람이 그렇게 막 많지는 않으니까 여자 선수들은 그래서 조금 파트너들이 좀 부족해서 그런 훈련적인 부분에 있어서 조금 아직까지는 조금 아쉬움이 많지 않나. 그래서 만약에 한국 선수들도 뭐 해외 시합이나 앞으로 큰 대회를 좀 꿈꾼다면 해외 훈련이나 좀 파트너들이 많은 곳으로 찾아가서 훈련해보는 것도 참 괜찮겠다라는 생각이 많이 들었습니다. 한국에서는 사실 아직까지는 여자 선수들이 활동할 수 있는 이제 파트너들이 많지 않기 때문에 부상이나 이런 것들에 많이 노출되어 있는데, 진짜 뭐 해외에서 경기를 뛰거나 이렇게 하면은 해외로 직접 나와서 훈련을 하고 시합을 찾는 것도 괜찮다라는 생각이 많이 들었습니다.
Don't worry, Kevin. I got this one. It's very hard. I can translate this. Don't worry. I can translate it. Don't worry. You take a break, Kevin. I'll take care of this. Basically, it's very hard to come out as an MMA fighter in Korea. It's hard work and dedication that you need to put in. Kevin, am I close?
Yeah, you're halfway there. Yeah, 엄청 힘들다고 얘기 들어보니까. No, it's that Korea MMA population is not really that big, so there isn't a lot of people training, even with male or female. But especially the females, there isn't a lot of partners you can train with, and just with her experiences in Syndicate, she felt and learned that if you want to make it to the big stage, or if you are fighting on the big stage, then she suggests all of you guys or everyone gets out of the country and start finding their own training partners outside of their home country, which is Korea. So that's the first difficulty she has in Korea, because MMA obviously is not a new sport, but it's not as big as what it should and it could be.
Yeah.
So yeah, those publicity, training partners, training areas, or the knowledge they have, or the difficulties she has as a Korean MMA fighter.
Well, that's the thing. We had on the podcast, we had Ramona Pasquale. We know you train with Joanne Calderwood and you train with Avery. all those people, and you're going to be able to inspire all the young Korean women to train hard and maybe to move and find great gyms.
그러니까 이제 어쨌거나 지은 씨가 미국에 와서는 이제 에이블이랑 조조, 뭐 라모나 이런 선수들이랑 훈련을 하고 지은 씨가 이제 싸우면 싸울수록 밑에 있는 후배들, 여자 후배들을 좀 어떻게 보면은 모티베이션을 주면서 되지 않을까.
네.
All right. The next question is from Aaron's S2. That's my wife. She's asking, what is your favorite Korean drama on Netflix?
이거는 와이프 개인 질문이래요. 지은 씨가 넷플릭스에서 좋아하는 한국 드라마는 뭐냐고.
안 그래도 보고 있는 게 있어요, 지금.
King of the Devil is something she's watching.
Which one is it?
네, 어떤 거냐고요?
뭐예요?
지금 시즌 2 하고 있는데요. 슬기로운 의사생활이라고. 한국에서.
This I'll not be able to translate. I don't know what this is in English. 슬기로운 뭐라고요?
의사생활. 의사생활.
의사? 의사?
네, 닥터. 닥터.
It's peaceful life of a doctor or
Oh,
a
okay,
life
okay.
of a doctor.
Okay.
It's in season 2 right now on Netflix. So anything that has a doctor
All right.
Netflix
Well-
show on season 2 is what
막-
you're talking about.
의사에 대한 그런 게 아니라, 막 의사와 막 그 병원 찾아오는 그런 환자들과 그런 감동적인 그런 친구들과 의정과 그런 감동 스토리. 네,
Okay, it's not
그렇습니다.
about life of a doctor. It's just more about touching the hearts of their patients and the interaction
okay.
between the doctor and the patient.
맨날 보고 울고
Anything-
있어요.
Yeah, she cries watching those. So anything regarding the doctor meeting patients from season 2.
Oh.
is what we're talking about.
We've been watching a lot. We watch Crash Landing on You, When Camellia Blooms, and Memories of the Alhambra.
이런 것들 보고 있대요. 이거 한국말로
네?
뭔지 모르겠는데 랜딩 언니가 뭐지?
네.
너 사랑의 불시착?
아, 네네네.
Those
Oh,
are
그
all.
리정혁 동무?
And I
그거.
watched the ultimate one, the ultimate Korean drama. It's called Sweet Home.
Sweet Home.
아, Sweet Home.
Mhm.
아, 네네.
It makes me cry every time. Sweet Home. Oh my God.
All right. And then the last question comes from my cat Lito. Lito wants to know, how is Oliver, and is Oliver a good boy?
예, 올리버
고양이가
굿보이.
질문이에요. 올리버는
네네. 올리버요? 올리버 지금 자고 있어요. 밖에서 오라는데 오지도 않고 잠만 자요.
아?
올리버가 요새 더워가지고 컨디션이 안 좋아요. 맨날 잠만 자요.
Because it's been so hot lately in Vegas. Oliver's just been tired and exhausted.
Let's see him. Let's see him.
한번
Can't wait.
보여달래요.
아, 진짜? 올리버!
Guys,
Oliver here.
if you watch her on Instagram, she's
Oliver.
always got
올리버
this
지금
dog.
잠만 자고 있어. 올리버!
Oh.
올리버!
Oliver, wake up. We're trying to
Wake
make you
up.
famous. We're trying to make you famous, Oliver. Wake up.
Wake up! 올리버!
Yeah,
Please.
is he awake? Is he alive?
Yeah, he's
Oh, yeah.
alive.
올리버!
He's good.
올리버!
Well,
올리버!
he's,
굿보이!
깨우지 않아도 돼요.
절대 안 일어나.
well, Kevin, thank you so much for coming. Kim Jion, we appreciate you coming on so much. Again, we love you here in Canada. You have a huge following. Your Instagram is great. We're going to put your links to Instagram, but everybody should follow Jion Kim on Instagram. She is Championi. And thank you so much for coming on the podcast. We really, really appreciate it. Thank you for taking the time. And we wish you all the luck in the world in your fight against Molly McCann. We know you're going to win. And we want to see that Ezekiel choke.
일단은 와주셔서 너무 고맙고요. 토론토는
네.
지금 이 운영하고 계신 팀원분도 지은 씨를 응원하고 캐나다
네.
사람들 사랑하고 이번에 시합 이길 걸 분명히 알고 있고 부디 에디킬 토크를 하길 바란다고.
아우, 네, 한번 도전 시도해 보겠습니다.
So try it.
Yeah, good.
감사합니다.
All right. Thank you so
Thank you.
much, Jion. Thank you, Kevin, for translating. I know it's so late in Korea. Thank you so much. 감사합니다.
감사합니다.
Okay, bye-bye, guys.
Bye bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Yeah, it's Timmy B, Prissy D, fight in sight, yeah, that's right.